Hello, hello, hello. Hey, y'all. It's your girl, Miss Mouthy. Welcome, Lips. And this is season 6, the unmuted edition. And so this episode is going to be called My Little Light of Mine. Oftentimes, I sat back and I thought about, oftentimes we hear people talk about light, my light, this light that you have, don't dim your light, all of those things. But what does that really mean? What does that mean in a society that sometimes refuses to see people? Or what does that mean when people are not allowed to be their full selves? And I've always thought about owning a light as a essence. And so I wanted to take the time to just share about my essence and who I feel like I'm being and how Miss Mouthy podcasts have not only shown a brighter side of myself, but also given me the strength to take my flame and my light higher. So, I recently came back from Milwaukee off a T-Door event. So shout out to Elle Halo for doing that. She is amazing. What I value most about Elle is that she is a community member that is so for grassroots. When she invited me to come to Milwaukee, it's been great to see her put together a concept and see it through to fruition. And so we had a week full of people being able to go to senators and to their town hall meetings and be able to voice their concerns about how things are affecting the community. We also was able to have tributes and like sound baths and moments to have dialogue around community members that we've already lost, but also honor them and like lift up their names in the space and hold a candlelight visual for those individuals to be able to be recognized, celebrated, and honored for no longer being here with us. And so we ended the week with a award ceremony and giving tribute to leaders that has been significantly impacting the community and doing the work and showing up and making change. And so it was really good to be able to connect with the women in Milwaukee and get a different feel of what other parts of the country is doing. And so her being a Midwest girl, me being a Midwest girl, I just adore her. One of the things I value the most about Elle is how she shows up not only for community, but when I was going through a really tough time, she allowed me to trust her. And that is so important in community. And really, when we call sisterhood into question, it was good to know that I had someone that I could talk to, vent with, cry with, and we could give off our frustrations of how the world try to dim our light, how people who see our light are threatened by it and try and minimize us. But in the great fight of showing up for each other, the solidarity of just supporting each other has been very beneficial because I question if sometimes women are genuinely in union and can we like come together for a great cause. And she should be very proud of the event that she gave. The light. I was a very, very timid child growing up, not because I was unsure of myself. It was just the nervousness of seeing other people around me be terrified for my existence. So when you grow up as a kid thinking that everything you do is to be scrutinized, criticized, you question, maybe I shouldn't do anything at all. And I think a lot of queer people growing up can resonate with that experience is that we know that what we are doing authentic to ourselves and how we show up to be who we are called to be is always in question of someone else logic around how we should, whether that's a gender role, a mannerism, a piece of clothing that we choose to desire. And it get real when we get closer to the holiday season like now, where a lot of queer kids is not even being seen to be able to be recognized to get what's really on their wish list. So you want these kids to write down, oh, what you want to tell Santa you want. And if I'm a boy and I say I want a dolly, then there's a problem. If I'm a little girl and I say I want a truck, she can't have that. But what if what this kid desire is pure joy, and if this toy give them that, why would you limit that experience for them? And so oftentimes, right in that very moment, we are taught that our ask for something outside of the norm is too much. It's not that the parent won't afford it. It won't be that they feel like it's going to be harmful or detrimental to your health. What it is simply society says you're not supposed to have it, so I refuse to get it. And so when we sneak and get it on our own by our own means, and a lot of people can connect this to the racial aspect of it, how black people have always made a way to get resources and do the things that they need to feel that joy. Honey, y'all reprimand us. Y'all whoop our ass for sneaking the dolly under the mattress or stuffing it in a closet, or you don't understand why this is in their room. That is a pivotal moment to open up the conversation. What it is about my child that they feel like they have to hide? Why would they desire to have this in their possession? Well, as that being in that same light, all the things that makes us beautiful that people come to recognize as we get older, if we survive past those times to like really settle into ourselves, we were good enough to listen to the complaints, to do the things that was asked of us, to not want to bring any shame to the family. Versus in those moments, people could have really poured into telling them exactly who you are, is who you meant to be. You are enough. And so as you watch these young folks, because I'm learning that a lot of young viewers watch my podcast, which I'm so honored. But I think one of the significant things is how to pour into them and to affirm who they are right in their journey. You're exactly supposed to be that. And the youth, oh, their light just shines so bright. You're called to be. Life haven't gotten you down dramatically to where when you get adult and you've been through some experiences, you could dim your light. You could feel a little bitter. You could have reason for resentment. And so when they're young like that, I just encourage all the people around them that's invested in their life and their well-being to continue to pour into them, douse that gasoline on them, give them everything that's going to make them feel great about themselves and who they are. I think one of the biggest things in owning your light is that even though everybody possess something that makes them bright and what they shine on, it's ultimately yours to nurture. If you don't nurture that flame within you that keeps you passionate about life and passionate about the things that you want and what you desire out of this life, you see a lot of young folks turn into old people who become very mean, cold, bitter, calculated, and we know that in society. It's this dual thing that we see in society of good versus evil, positive versus negative, but we never really stop for a moment to ask ourselves why. Why is that some people can decide to be better human beings under other folks' definition versus their counterparts? And it all goes back to a choice. We all have a choice on how we choose to show up in life. I have been through some things, and it could doubtedly make me be angry and lash out and be horrible and consider nobody else's feelings but my own. But I don't live in a world where simply I'm the only person to exist. What I come to realize within the end of this year is that no matter what you go through, I talked about this on a previous podcast of turning your pain into purpose, was that when you go through something so traumatic and you don't know exactly when it's going to have an end, it is your responsibility to learn how to keep yourself above the bullshit, to keep yourself above the distraction, to keep yourself centered and focused on what God is calling you to do. And so, in hindsight, because it's always great when you be able to reflect back on these things 4 years later, looking back on that episode and speaking so much truth to light, have to be grateful to learn the lesson while you're being broken. If y'all follow me on social media, I definitely talked about that a little earlier. It is important to recognize that when you go through life hardships, that is the moment where you can really learn who you are and go through a situation to really learn from it. And while you're growing and you're actually honestly trying to figure out how to overcome this situation, that's where you find your strength. That is where you find your resilience. And something beautiful oftentimes is birthed from that. So I just kind of am thankful for that. I'm thankful for my, I realize even in these moments, life will still always give you some shit. It's what you do with that shit that's going to ultimately turn out your decision of your life. And we say that with every decision up until we're a young kid on how we view the world, how the world view us, how we view ourselves, how we conduct ourselves with other individuals. And as I have experienced some things and I move forward in community because I recognize how important community is, boundaries have taught me how to stay safe while in community. Discernment has taught me how to foresee bullshit before I have to entertain it. Self-worth have kept me keeping myself in alignment with all the things like my discipline and my morals and my values to not settle for less than what I know I'm deserving of. And the right people, the right people have really reassured me that humility and humanity are ways in which people can restore other people harm that's inflicted on another human being. I never question why people do what they do or how they choose to show up in the world. I only question that when I show up in the world and it's my time to present my truth, am I doing it with integrity? Am I doing it in a way that's authentic to myself? Would my legacy and would my mom, my ancestors be proud of all that I've come to present? What do I share? What do I display to my child for her to mimic, emulate, think is cool and uncool? And in this human experience, we won't always be perfect, but I definitely think in those moments where we recognize our flaws, we can only ask ourselves, how do we get better from here? How do we grow from here? What version of myself do I want to be? And what path will my light lead? I think in the world now, community, where we have so many inflicted harms posed to us, and I say inflicted because it's been this hyper vigilance around making trans folks the mascot for this new imaginary hate. We are not to be the poster child for our own demise and the reason why people hate us, kill us, sex us, harms us, and then turn around and ask us to do the solution and go out here and talk about all the things. I'm no longer in a space to where I have to prove that I am worthy. I don't have to overly perform. I don't want to be in celebratory spaces that refuse to let me show up in my fullness. I don't want to be in partnerships with people who don't value being ethical to people, regardless of status or class. These things have been practices that I felt like I had to come on my journey while going through really tough traumatic experiences. And so, what I would say is that if you're going through anything in life, learn how to. I don't want you to be resilient because that comes with a price of burnout. But I want you to be adaptable. I want you to see life for what it is, adjust yourself, and then move accordingly. Be okay with letting people go who are weighing you down. Be okay with not recognizing yourself because you have evolved past your own expectation of yourself. And be grateful for another opportunity to be able to make room for improvement. It is your girl, Miss Mouthy. I love you guys. I thank y'all for staying tuned. And what ask that I would say for this week is that you go out here and you shine your light bright. And I mean, don't apologize, pop your shit, do all the things that you continue to do that makes you you. Okay? It's your girl, Miss Mouthy. Even when you what? Don't see me, you hear me. Till next time. Bye.